house out there, but you were missed by me.
Oh. Well,
and I promoted Flightline Radio, and as always.
Cool. Thank you.
Hey, you're doing your promotion of All About Wine on there, so
absolutely. Yeah.
At least we can do is promote Flightline from here.
Check your settings. Keyframe interval recommended. I have it set to 2. It's on 2. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I was looking through Wine Spectator. I got in the mail today, so I was looking through that, see if there was.
I didn't get mine.
Oh.
No.
Okay. Well,
most of the time I get mine before yours. This time I didn't get it. No.
Yep. Yeah.
1 minute until showtime.
4 seconds off. Oh boy. And of course,
I'm 6 seconds. Always 6 seconds.
Yeah, I'm usually 6 or 7, but and of course this thing wants to reboot and install updates, and it's going to have to wait. So that ain't going to happen.
Unless it decides to just do it itself. Yeah.
It's on. That's live. Yeah. No, I don't think it can. Maybe. I don't know. We'll try.
Yeah.
So
Sky Blue was the old one, right? Sky Blue?
Yes. And
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to the guys. I mentioned, and Cap looked it up, and he says, Sky Blue. He says, this isn't what you were talking about. And I said, yeah. So,
yeah. Yep. Yeah, he's the one who got after it. Man, this video really doesn't look too good.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
3, 2.
I'm only 1 second out. 2
Blog
seconds.
Talk Radio.
This is All About Wine, the talk show dedicated to the wine industry since 2009. Featuring winemaker, cellar master, vineyardist, and tasting expert, Ron.
Basically, what we're trying to do on this program is just trying to educate people and trying to make wine less confusing and more friendly.
From coast to coast and around the world, this is All About Wine, the talk show dedicated to the wine industry since 2009. Featuring winemaker, cellar master, vineyardist, and tasting expert, Ron.
Basically, what we're trying to do on this program is just trying to educate people and trying to make wine less confusing and more friendly.
We really have
from coast to coast and around the world.
We really have had some neat people on the program. I love that.
Post your questions and comments during the live show on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/allaboutwinebtr. Again, that's www.facebook.com/allaboutwinebtr. And now, All About Wine is on. Here's Ron. Here's Ron.
That's enough. We know Mike's back and everybody's happy, but that's enough. Okay.
Yeah,
Mike's back with us.
I was playing the video version, and then all of a sudden the Blog Talk Radio version started. I don't know what happened. Because I heard it come from someplace else. I don't know where it was from. This is not mixed up right. Very strange. So let me make sure it's tuned out. Anyway, I didn't know if you couldn't hear it and you hit the play button, or if it was on my end somewhere. But definitely two versions ran, and then when the version that's playing from someplace else caught up to where the video was, I just finished playing the video version. So
there you go.
So and they were running in sync for just about most of it, but I don't know where that was coming from. Anyway, it is July 13th, which is the National Day of All About Wine. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something here.
It's Free Fries Day.
Free what? I didn't get free fries.
Free Fries Day. Let me. I saved that tab. Let me see if I can find the tab here, because I saved that. I got so many tabs open for this show tonight that it's ridiculous. Let's see. Okay, here we go. This is from the Today Show on NBC, I think. Yeah. It says Wendy's or how to get free fries from McDonald's, Wendy's, and more. Free fries everywhere, and all of them are free. Thanks to this great nation's tradition of celebrating National French Fry Day, there are several ways to score yourself a heap of your favorite deep dish potato sticks for free this week. On July 13th, National French Fry Day season begins. Season, they say. When fast food chains, large and small, are asking fans to visit starting on that fateful day in a bid to celebrate the king of all sides. From some of America's biggest fast food chains to regional favorites and even a ketchup company, there are even more ways to celebrate the day without putting a dent in your wallet. Okay, and then it goes on. McDonald's is offering free fries any size for one day only, July 13th, all free. No purchase necessary at participating locations, one per customer. So you can go to McDonald's and say, "I like some free fries, please," and they will give you some. That's, I don't know, I guess till midnight. I don't know how long that runs. Smash Burger, that's a regional one, I guess. I've never heard of Smash Burger. They get a choice of smash fries, French fries, or sweet potato fries in store or via Smash Burger's website or their app. Where's Smash Burger? I've never heard of Smash Burger.
I've eaten it. Let me see. All right.
You checking that out?
Of course.
SMASH, Smash Burgers.
Yeah, they're Smash Burger. Okay. They are located, it looks like, in Pinellas. There's one near Pinellas Park in St. Petersburg. There's one,
really? They're around here?
Mm-hmm. There's one, looks like it's off of Del Mabry in Tampa, going towards MacDill Air Force Base. And there are 3, it looks like, in Orlando area. Yeah, up towards one of the northern airport. I forgot what it was called. What's it called? Oroil. And that's about it, as far as I could tell. But
wow.
Huh.
Smash Burger, never heard of them. Oh well. Let's see. On July 13th, Heinz is teaming up with Uber Eats to offer $5.70 off orders that include French fries to help you cover the bill. So Heinz is offering a $5.70 discount if you get it through Uber Eats. Hooters is also offering National French Fry Day offering of free curly fries, waffle fries, or tater tots with any entree. White Castle is let's see, what's it? White Castle is celebrating holiday on July 13th with a convenient coupon redeemable for a buy one get one free small fries at participating locations. Carl's Jr. and Hardee's, both owned by the same people, is offering, let's see, what is it? Receive a daily in-app for a small fry with a minimum purchase, small fry with a minimum purchase of $1. And if you have the app, the deal will appear every day until the last day of the year. Wendy's is offering free fries with any in-app purchase. So that's always cool. And this last one here, Checkers and Rallies. It's owned by the same chain. Checkers bought out Rallies a few years ago. But it says the drive-through restaurant chain petitioned to change the date of National Fry Day last year from July 13th, which happened on Wednesday, to the second Friday of July, likely in a bid to usher in the weekend in a salty style. The change request was actually granted by National Day Calendar. I'm going to have to look up the National Day Calendar, see what that's all about too. Which means that technically National French Fry Day this year is July 14th. So it looks like none of the other restaurants got the note on that. To commemorate and celebrate National French Fry Day 2023, Checkers and Rallies will be offering a free order of extra large fries between July 14th and July 16th for all Checker Reward app members. Well, I'll tell you what, you need to get on these apps. It looks like that's where the rewards are. And it says, additionally, Checkers and Rallies are extending the Friday love throughout the entire month by offering $1 fries of any size from July 24th through August the 6th at participating locations. So, National Fry Day today or not, depending, because actually it was changed last year by a petition from Checkers and Rallies, and the National Day Calendar accepted that. So, National Friday is either today or tomorrow or the last Friday or the second Friday of July. So there you go. But after the show, run out and get yourself some fries before it gets too late. Those on the West Coast used to have a few hours. Those on the East Coast, you can finish listening to the show at 8 o'clock. The shows are still open. So there you go. National Fry Day today. F-R-Y, not fry, F-R-I. Okay, let me see here. What else do we have? Nothing of any importance as far as holidays or anything else going on. Hope everyone had a safe 4th of July. Mike went on vacation up to the northeast corner of the state and enjoyed our Florida rain for 3 days.
Yes, it was exciting.
Yeah. We're in drought this side of the state and the center of the state, and so Mike had to go and see what rain looked like. So we took a.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of Mike, tune in tomorrow night to. That is tomorrow. Yeah. Tune in tomorrow night to Flightline Radio, flightlineradio.com. And Mike will be live from 7 to 9 p.m., taking requests and chit-chatting online with you. So you can tune that in. Or you can listen to flightlineradio.com anytime, anywhere, because it's streaming 24/7. So check that out if you haven't done so already. And you can always go into his website. He's flightlineradio.com has got areas there where you can make comments, so you can always put comments to him if you don't enjoy the show, or listen to him live and talk to him then. Or you can even drop him a line on Facebook tonight, because he monitors all that stuff. So if you have something to say about Flightline Radio, you can do that on our Facebook page. So, yeah, all sorts of possibilities for you. So, but yeah, I was listening to Flightline Radio the other day. What I really do, and I do this quite often, I just tune in Flightline Radio and put the headphones on and sit and listen to it while I'm reading information for the show, or catching up on emails, or thumbing through Facebook and all that. It's just a nice background for me, and here's some tunes I haven't heard in a long time, and some of them I wish I hadn't heard in a long time.
Yes.
And just
same way. Sometimes I'll listen on the way home from work, and I'll tune in and I'll hear a track, and I go, I really got to remove that from the list. I'm thinking that. Oh my gosh, what in the world is world coming to. But, yeah.
So yeah.
It's a
but
work in progress.
Fun. It's
Thank you.
Work in progress.
Yes.
Continuous work in progress. just like all about wine.
Just
We've been doing it for we're doing it for 13, 14 years. It's
Yes.
still a work in progress.
Yeah. We're still finding new things and making adjustments as we needed. But it's
continuous adjustment. So
yeah.
all right.
Oh,
So I've got some news for you, some wine related news, things I've found that I think that you might find interesting, and that's why I did it. Oh, Paperboy wine bottle. That and the other company that does paper bottles. I wrote them both. Paper. What is that? I wrote them both emails asking if they were aware of the other, if it's the same company, or I haven't heard anything from either one of them. I have no idea if they're ignoring me or if I don't know. But I introduced myself as All About Wine, so that I talked about them on the show, and I was wondering if they were aware of, of each other, and please get in touch with me, and like to have them on the show to talk about the paper bottle. Never answer from either one of them. So I don't know if it's just somebody monitoring it and just wiped it out or what went on. But I'll try it again this week, send them another email, and see if I hear from them. I just thought that was strange that they didn't respond. But, there's times when I'll get an email in, it'll slip past me, and I don't notice it, and all of a sudden I went, oh my gosh, this came in last week, and I'll answer it. So let's hope that that's what comes up. I have not finished reading an article and researching it on how a human smell receptors works. They finally found the whole key to it, so I'm trying to get it so I can talk about it without all the articles are too scientific, I think, and they really need to tone it down because although some of the words has to be used to describe some of the things, but still. So I will finish that and get more information on it for you. And then also I'm working through a symposium on regenerative viticulture, which we will talk about that. And I found an interview with Natalie McLean while I was going through stuff. Natalie was a guest on the show, 6-8 months ago, maybe even more now. I really lose track of time. Somebody will talk to us, and all of a sudden I'll say, oh, they talked to us 3 weeks ago, and it's been 3 months. So it's hard to keep track. But Natalie was interesting. She's been involved with wine and sommelier and have written a couple of books, where she has a new book out. And she wrote me about it about a month ago. And I wrote her back and said, yeah, we'd love to have you on the show and talk about your new book and how things have been going and all that. I haven't heard from her. So I'll send her another email.
We had her.
And see if I can't get her on.
We had her.
Yes.
When did you think it was?
I was thinking, 6-8 months ago.
Ooh, okay. February 25th, 2021 So
oh my gosh.
Two
oh my gosh, 2 years and 6 months.
I just looked at it. I'm thinking, it'll show up pretty quick. And there it is. Wow. February 25th, 2021. Huh. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't thinking.
I didn't realize it was that long ago. I didn't even think it was past 23. I was thinking beginning of this year or so.
Yeah, seems like it. But
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I say. I lose track. I talk to these people and I just totally lose track.
Yep.
But she has a new book.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, when we talked to her back then a couple years ago, she said something about the fact that she was writing another book. And I said, sure. I said, when you get it done, let's get you back on the show. And she said she would love to. And actually, she wrote me. It wasn't me that was writing her first. She wrote me and said, "My book is done. Would you like me to be on it?" And I wrote her back and said, "Yes, I would love to." And I hadn't heard from her. And then I saw this interview, just a little short question and answer thing. And it reminded me of her new book and all that. And so I wrote her and I said, "I'd love to have you on the show." I haven't heard from her either. And speaking of not hearing from people, the American Grape Symposium that was on, that I caught the podcast on, which was phenomenal, I thought. I wrote those two guys, and I haven't heard back from them either. So I guess I'm going to have to write, 5 new emails over the next couple of days and see if I can't get a hold of any of these people and get a response from them. I want to write them nasty emails and say, "Hey, will you answer your bloody emails and get back with me, because it's being floated around is irritating." But sometimes I miss people's emails too, so I shouldn't say that. So Natalie is on there, and let's see. Okay, here we go. I got some news for you. This first one here is: more than a year into the Russian invasion, Ukraine's wine industry assesses the damage. 13 months plus since it started. And it's been going on now, actually in the north areas and stuff like that, more so than anything. It actually started on February 24, 2022. Vintners, sommeliers, and grape growers left their cellars to enlist in the country's defense. A lot of people. And due to Ukraine's sprawling geography, it says in this article, and Russia's early invasion and the annexation of the Crimean Peninsula, many of the wineries quickly found themselves on the front lines, because a lot of the wineries are located down in Crimea and in that area. So I can understand. But let's see. Art Winery, the country's largest maker of sparkling wine, previously produced as many as 19 million bottles annually of sparkling wine. They use the traditional method of making sparkling wine. But they're located in Bakhmut, 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 and that's where there's been a lot of fighting from both sides, the Russians and Ukrainians. And so it's been tough. They said just about everything is destroyed there. And before the conflict, before they got to that part, Art Winery managed to move something like 5 million bottles of their wines, sparkling and all that, to new warehouses near Odessa, which is away from the fighting. But they said that they left the majority of the stock behind. And also, this is what I thought was interesting, they have miles of wine cellars underground where they are keeping the older vintages, and they don't know what's happening to them. They don't know if they've been overran with soldiers, if people have gotten down there and destroyed them, if it's been protected. They just they don't know what's happened to the underground. They do know the production facilities have been completely destroyed. And they said the destruction goes beyond the buildings. This is over the last year, meaning the country's winemakers, growers, and sommeliers have been killed by the Russian aggression. Some fell in battle after enlisting, and others were killed by Russian bombs that you hear about whenever you hear the bombs going off and behind front lines. And it says the local merchants and markets for wine have been destroyed. A lot of those have. And they're also the ones that haven't been destroyed. People are not inspired to go out and buy and enjoy wine. It's not the primary thing. And if they do go out into these areas where the businesses are, they're afraid of rockets coming in because that's where the rockets are aimed. That's nasty. That's nasty of anybody. I've always, thought that was pretty nasty to hit the civilians. But, the consumption with Ukrainian wine is really decreased. And in Ukraine, they say that wine is a festive drink, and because of the situation, it's not a festive time there. So that has been affected there. Also, the bombs and mortar fire have blasted a lot of the vineyards. And there's a lot of vineyards that have landmines planted in them that were put in by retreating Russian troops. And so this makes it extremely dangerous to go into the vineyard until they're demined. And that could take years. They're still finding mines in Vietnam that were planted. I mean, that war has been over for 50 years. We just celebrated the 50th anniversary of the end of Vietnam, and they're still finding mines there. So this is mines in the vineyards are just stops the vineyards completely. But there are still some that are working. Ukrainian Winemaking Reconstruction Fund, and that's going on. It says only donations have arrived from North America so far. So, yay for North America. But it's tough. It's tough over there for the wineries, and the wine people. The war, as you can imagine, it's they're trying to keep it going and all that. If nothing else, at least save the vineyards and get those so they're not destroyed. But again, that's happening on some of those. So that's a report with wineries and wine in the Ukraine. Not a good thing. Basically, they're saying that they're glad they're still alive, and some of the vineyards and all that are still in good shape. So overall, hopes are up, but they'll see. So, okay, next thing. Editing genomes in grapes so that they are resistant to diseases. I think this is a great idea. I think it's a fantastic thing to do, and it's starting to become more and more of research and happening. Right now, they're looking at the biggest problems like powdery mildew disease, which and pretty much what it sounds like. It's a mildew and it sort of looks like powder on the legs and just destroys the grapes. So they're looking at something that they can do on the genetic level to stop that. And so, it's good. A good example of this powdery mildew is more active in humid areas with lower temperatures, areas like Paso Robles and Sonoma and stuff like that. And in Monterey County, for example, they spray the vines 10 to 11 times every season to try to stop powdery mildew. In Paso Robles, I said Paso Robles. And Paso Robles, I read that here, and that's what I said. Paso Robles vines are only sprayed 3 to 4 times a year because they're a little bit drier. So, if they can find a genome to stop that, then they can put it in the grapevine, and it will be super grape, if you will. So that's what they're looking at. But let me let me read you this paragraph. It says, after creating a genetic maps for more than 20 Vitis families, the Vitis vinifera, that's, the grape you used to. After creating genetic maps for 20 Vitis families during the Vitis Gen 2 project, researchers working on the Vitis Gen 3 are now using the data to choose and test candidate genes that are responsible for mildew resistance. Okay, they're pulling out these genes. Using gene editing technologies like CRISPR, and I had a show on CRISPR, probably about 30 years ago, as much as I am so bad on the timeline here. We had a show on CRISPR a few years ago. The researchers will remove those candidate genes and insert them into other grapevines, and then test them against powdery mildew to see how they respond. They will find the gene that is resistant to powdery mildew and transfer it to another. The goal is to better understand the gene's functions, similarities, and differences, which will allow them to isolate favorable characteristics and possibly lead to a super-resistant super grape. All right, so it continues on. This super grape research could then be used to help breeders develop a grapevine that's disease-resistant and not only to powdery mildew. And then those susceptible but popular grapes could possibly be tweaked to be more resistant to a variety of things. So, I don't have a problem with this at all. If they can find grapevines that are resistant to this stuff and not lose their basic characteristics. And this is the thing more than anything when they start doing this. They have to maintain their varietal character. Because if they don't, then it's all for naught. And it has to be the same quality that it's always had. Now, I found another article here. I don't know if I was going to talk about it tonight or not. I don't know if it's here or not. But the different clones of grapes that are being used, there's like, oh my gosh, so many different clones for so many different grapes. And they have kept their same characteristic, and they have been bred with other grapevines to create characteristics. This CRISPR and genetic editing is basically the same thing, only it's just done faster. So I don't have any problem with it. Okay, so there you go. Keep that in mind. If I see anything else coming up about this stuff happening, I will pass it on to you. It's working. This is going fast. This cloning and not cloning, but gene editing is really starting to catch hold of, and people are working on it. It's starting to show good results so far. So, Andrew just walked in with my evening wine. Okay, what do we got here? Conundrum. Oh, I love a conundrum. This is Conundrum Red. Conundrum White is fantastic. I don't know if you've ever had the Conundrum White, but I highly recommend it. And this is a Conundrum Red, and I've had this before, and I highly recommend this also. It says, California red wine blends unique. California red wine blend, unique and original to the Wagner family of wine, product of California, USA. 2017, Conundrum, California, Charles F. Wagner, proprietor. That's what it says on the front label. And the back label says, Conundrum, original California red wine, vinted and bottled by the Conundrum Wines, Fairfield, California, at conundrumwines.com. Alcohol 14.6, by volume. And then the government label and the UPC code. Or UBC bar. Very good. I love Conundrum. I love the Conundrum White. It's just really fantastic. I've had the Conundrum Red. It is also very good. I recommend both of them. If you haven't had them, I recommend both of them. It's got a screw cap on this. I see she didn't bring in the cap, but I see the threads on the top of the bottle here. Good for them. Let me see what this looks like here. Oh, a good purple, dark purple color on it. And I love that aroma. Little inkiness to the color, which is good. Oh, just a nice fruity aroma. Plum. I'm picking up a lot of plum on this particular one tonight. You can probably hear me swirl that on the table here, so I'll pick it up and do it so it's not so loud for you. Yeah, picking up a lot of plumminess to that. Legs are light. It's for those of you who are into the legs. Not real strong on the legs. Wow, hardly non-existent at all. That's really odd. Usually get some legs on it. I love that aroma. I have to sit and sniff it every once in a while. Never judge wine on your first sip, but always the second. But that first one was great. And there I'm getting some legs on it. Not bad leg. Slow moving, another wine. Very nice wine. Very. I can't think of the word to describe it. It is velvety. Good balance. The tannins are just about where they should be. This is a 2017. We've had this in the rack for a while, so this is mellowed out a little bit, and it's mellowed out absolutely perfectly well, I think. A good choice for tonight. It is, we're having roast beef. That's probably why she pulled this out. A little velvety taste to it. Soft, lingering finish. It's got some, I don't know, something else I'm trying to look for to describe it. I can't figure out what it is. If it comes to me, I'll say. Very good wine, though. Very good. Highly recommend it. Conundrum. They do a white and a red. I had a white for years. Used to tell people to buy the Conundrum white all the time. Then they came out with the red. And they did an excellent job on this also. So, back to the program. Gene editing. To me, a great idea. And if they can get grapevines that are grapes that taste the same as what they have now without any problems, then, go for it. Make it easier on the farmers and less spraying and less all that stuff. I think that's great. Okay, let me go to the next one here and see what I've got on this. Why organic wine tastes better? Now, this article by whom? Kathleen Wilcox out of Wine Searcher, which is a website. Out of Wine Searcher. I use Wine Searcher all the time, by the way. That's really an interesting and informative website. Wine, WINE Searcher, SEARCHER.com. Wine Searcher. Great website. Check it out. And, put it in your favorites. This says, usually when we talk about organic and biodynamic farming, we talk about how it's better for the planet, the health of the farm workers, and the communities. Over the years, tens of thousands of lawsuits have been filed against companies like Monsanto. And Monsanto has shelled out $11 billion and counting to date over the noxious effects synthetic farming chemicals have on both the environment and health of humans. And chemicals like Roundup, which is also are produced by Monsanto. And studies have demonstrated that organically and biodynamically farmed food and beverages are healthier, higher in antioxidants, nutrition, and polyphenols than that you will find in other conventionally farmed products. But it says, we are not primarily drinking wine as an active community service or as some sort of constitution-boosting elixir. We drink wine because it's yummy. And as it turns out, organically and biodynamically farmed wine appears to taste better too. It's always been my question, does it really? Multiple studies of scores from Robert Parker, wine enthusiasts, and wine spectators show that organic wines perform better than their peers. Now, there you go. It says professors at UCLA and KEDGE, Kedge Business School in Bordeaux, looked at 74,000 scores of wines produced in California from the three that I just mentioned, and found that organically and or biodynamically certified wines earned 4.1% higher than the rest of the pack. So there you go. I'm not going to get into this whole article. It's very long. It starts talking about a lot of stuff, but it says that chemical superiority is one reason, and the chemical composition of the wines. So different farming methods show a clear hierarchy of quality. Organic and biodynamic farming methods produce wines that are more expressive and more resilient to oxidation. So that's one area that goes on with that. I'm not going to read it. And terroir. It says the terroir is organic farming leads to more pure terroir and flavors because the terroir is giving the grapes a better, flavors and grape essence are deeper and terroir driven in the wines. So terroir, if you don't know, is the French word terroir, Terroir, a French word meaning the effect of the soil, the air, everything around the soil and the grapevine to give it the best quality you can. No equivalent English word for it, but we use terroir. You hear different people talk about their terroir, which is just the soil and everything. So, and they're saying that the terroir has a lot to do with it, but it also, going organic and biodynamic, is better for the terroir. And thoughtful farming, they said those who are going biodynamic and organic have meticulous plans for each block to ensure that the growth of the vines is at the maximum quality that they can and all that. So the farmers, they say, put a better effort into it. And the feel-good component, knowing that you are helping the earth and everything. So, according to this article, it says that biodynamic and organic wines do actually taste better. Okay. I can't argue with them. They must know what they're doing. I am surprised that on blind tastings they can tell the difference, but maybe they can't. Maybe just give it a higher score. So, there you go. I've always said, is there a difference? Well, yes. According to this, there is a difference. 6 new California AVAs are proposed. American Viticulture Areas. And They are as follows. Carmel Coast. The Carmel Coast AVA will sit northwest of the Carmel Valley AVA, but it will still be completely within the Monterey AVA. And this one is a much cooler climate than the Carmel Valley AVA because it's got the influence of the coast. Total of 4,127 acres, which is a little small, I mean, considering the size of some of the AVAs. And it says that right now there are 6 growers working with Pinot Noir and Chardonnay on approximately 90 acres of vineyards. So that's the one of the new ones in California, the Carmel Coast AVA. Next one, the Contra Costa AVA. I lived in Contra Costa County, so this is right there where I used to live. This is to establish a new viticulture region and change the boundaries for the Central Coast and San Francisco Coast AVAs. Okay, as it stands, the Contra Costa area would fall partially in both of those AVAs and partially in an undesignated area. So the boundary change will place Contra Costa squarely in the Central Coast AVA and create more consistency between AVA boundaries. And Contra Costa is, you've got San Francisco, and then across the Bay Bridge, you've got Oakland and Berkeley, and then through a tunnel and over the hills there, you've got Contra Costa County, which really is a big difference in climate. A big difference in climate. It's much warmer than the cooler climates around the San Francisco Bay itself. You go over to Contra Costa County, and it really makes a big difference. I don't know. I don't think Winty and Concan and all those down in Livermore are in Contra Costa County. I think they're. I can't think of the county, but I don't think they are. The new Contra Costa County AVA is 167,146 acres, and it has 1,700 acres of grapes being grown, and there are 14 wineries. I think maybe that does include I don't know. Zinfandel is the most common. There's also Petit Syrah, Malbec, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Cabernet Sauvignon, and several other types. Another one, Crystal Springs of Napa Valley. This is the first one in Napa since Combsville was approved in 2011. The new Crystal Springs block will contain 4,000 acres with 230 acres planted at 30 vineyards. Wow, a lot of vineyards included in there. It will border Old Howell Mountain Road to the east, St. Helena AVA to the south, the Calistoga AVA to the west, and the Howell Mountain AVA to the north. So it'll be right between all those. Crystal Springs of Napa Valley. Rancho Santa Fe AVA, 25 miles north of San Diego. And it used to grow eucalyptus trees for railroad ties, and those turned out that the eucalyptus trees was a terrible choice because the wood was too soft and it warped easily, so it did not work for railroad ties. It was abandoned and became a planned community with many homes designed. But in 2005, the co-owner of the Cove, C-O-V winery, decided to plant Cabernet Sauvignon in the area, and it exploded for a wine region. Now it's got 31 vineyards on 14 acres, and there is the largest vineyard is 2,500 vines. So that is the Rancho Santa Fe AVA. How big is that one? It doesn't say the size of it. It just tells what's there. about 5 miles from the Pacific coast, so the average temperature is only 62 degrees. And the next one here is the San Luis Rey AVA. It will run from San Diego Riverside County border south to the towns of Oceanside and San Marcos. This is roughly the watershed for San Luis Rey River. And what is it? Slightly over 98,000 acres with more than 256 acres planted by 44 growers. Wow, a lot of variety of grapes there. And the last one is the Winters Highlands AVA. This spans 2 counties, Yolo and Solano, and it's this is pinched between 2 geographical features, Rocky Ridge and the Vaca Mountains. And it's basically the Puda Creek watershed. The gap between the mountains allows coastal influence to flow in, and nearby Lake Berryessa creates a lake effect that encourages cooler air to linger. Let's see, size. Oh, here it is. 7,296 acres with around 134 acres under vine on 10 properties. And another 60 acres for planting is planned. So there you go. 6 new AVAs in California, which we may see those pop up on bottles in a couple years. It's always the possibility of that. Okay, let's see. The next one here is weather issues in Missouri. Now, the reason I saw this because I am originally from Missouri, and I've talked to a lot of wineries in Missouri, and a lot of people there who are involved in the wine business and growing business. But weather issues in Missouri could wipe out nearly 3/4 of wine production. Oh my gosh, 3/4. It says, Missouri's ag director says extreme weather has caused a 70% decline for the state's wine production this year. Chris, a female, says farmers have faced a perfect storm. Last year in December, we had a cold spell. The winter fluctuated a lot in the last 3 months of the year, and it really came at a bad time when the grapes would have been budding. Then in April, we had a late freeze, and it says the current drought could cause a long-lasting damage. Currently concerned that some of those vines may not make it through this growing season and have to be replanted. If they are replanted, they say it will take 3 to 5 years to come back to full production. This will have a long-term impact on wine production in the state of Missouri. Wow. It says that they're trying to import grapes from the Northeast, but that region also experienced a late freeze, so they might not have enough grapes to share. So, wow, Missouri got hit this year. That's horrible. Okay, next one we have here. Which invasive species truly threatens the vineyards? We've talked about a lot of invasive species. First one here is the glassy-winged sharpshooter and the Zigzilla fastidiosa, which is the disease that it carries, Pierce disease. That's how it is. And it says the bacterium, here's how it works. The bacterium has the ability to colonize the water-conducting system or the xylem of multiple plants through insect bites. They bite into the plant and start feeding on the sap and infects it. So, the next one, Popilla japonica, or the Japanese beetle. They said this is it kills plants too. If you see any of these, report it to your authorities, inspection authorities. And then the wood-boring larva of the tiger longicorn beetle. And this is is wood-eating insect whose larvae are pests for mulberry trees and Chinese mulberry, and they can also colonize other host plants, including grapevines. So there's the three that they listed. They didn't list the lanternfly, spotted lanternfly. So, but those are the ones that they listed on here, and invasive species that are really causing problems on grapevines, and they need to be monitored, as they all say. Next one here. Oh, this caught my eye. This is, the headline says, "The myth about red wine and drinking in moderation isn't true. No amount of alcohol is good for your heart," says Heart Foundation. What? Okay. It says, no amount of alcohol is good for your heart. The evidence is clear according to the Heart Foundation. Every drink counts, with any type of amount of alcohol increasing the risk of heart disease and conditions. No matter where you are on the scale of alcohol consumption, less is better, says the medical director, Dr. Gary Devlin. The charity has updated its position statement to say that you should not drink. Now, this is coming out of Australia. They need to revamp that because Australia is starting to hurt. Consumption of wine in Australia or alcoholic beverages has really dropped, as it has in France. France is starting to say, why are we not selling as much? Maybe it's reports like this. Before I forget it, too, I saw something which was interesting. Craft beer, and I know we're all about wine, but I saw this, and I have to share this. Craft beer has big festivals around the country in the summer. It started a few years ago and obviously took a hit in 2020 during COVID, but they're gearing it back up again. And they have numerous festivals around the country that are sponsored by craft beer. Well, I should say numerous festivals that were sponsored by craft beer, because this year a lot of the craft beers have cut back. They're not sponsoring the festivals. They said the number of people attending and the cost for them is not feasible to continue doing it. So one of the biggest ones in Denver, or outside of Denver, maybe Colorado Springs or something, I can't remember, but it's one of the biggest ones out west there. Craft beer company is not sponsoring it at all this year. It's been canceled, as have other ones throughout the country. So craft beer festivals are dying, which is a sign that the craft beer itself is dying. It's taken it as a cue to start re-examining the craft beer market. They said there's so many of them that popped up and so many of them that are out there, and people tend to be not drinking as much of it now, and some of the smaller ones are saying that they may be going out of business because they can't sustain themselves with the amount and volume of drinking. So, just to let you know, craft beer is starting to hurt. So if you're a craft beer fan, you need to get out and do your thing, start drinking more, because they are starting to hurt. And it's being shown in the festivals that the craft beers are cutting down on. So, okay, this move comes after a Cancer Society study last year found that few Australians knew that alcohol could cause cancer. And so they're saying the more booze, the more cancer. That needs to be understood in the same way people understand that too much sunlight, UV rays, can cause cancer. Boy, they're just poor Australians being hit with this stuff. Alcohol was also found to be a leading risk factor for death and disease worldwide, and was associated with nearly 1 in 10 deaths in people 15 to 49 years old. This is according to a 2018 study in the medical journal, The Lancet. Well, 15 to 29-year-olds, this is understandable how many of them are attributed to the fact that I can do that. Here, hold my beer. I mean, okay. So, no safe level of drinking, with any known health benefits outweighed by the adverse impact alcohol had on the body. So there you go. And then Dr. Jerry Devlin says, no matter where you are on the scale of alcohol consumption, less is better. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Jerry Devlin. And then tips to drink less: have alcohol-free weeks and weekends wherever you can. Choose alcohol-free activities or make your usual activities alcohol-free. Drink slowly. For every drink of alcohol, have a drink of water or soda water. That would fill me up. That's ridiculous. Low and zero alcohol products may help some people to drink less alcohol if they are consumed in place of full-strength drinks. Yeah, okay. There's some tips to drink less. Or sit down with a bottle of wine and ignore this whole thing here. Yeah, okay. There's been too many reports that it's good for you, and this one comes out, and they start doing that stuff, and I just sort of go, yeah, okay. Spotted lanternfly is looking at it's going to be plaguing Michigan wine industry, and they are being prepared. Kill it, squish it, smash it, get rid of it, stamp it out. The Commonwealth of New Jersey says kill it, stomp it out, says New Jersey. See it, squish it, report it, Michigan is saying now. It's right there in New Jersey, or in Pennsylvania, working its way west, and Minnesota is a little, or Michigan is a little concerned that it might be there soon. So I will let you know if they do start showing up there, but right now they are being prepared for them. They think it's going to hit them fairly soon. Major floods in Chile devastate 7 regions. Wow. I mean, I hadn't heard that there was major floods there. Maui region has recorded 156.6 millimeters of rainfall since the start of the severe weather on back in June. And the region's average annual rainfall is 735 millimeters, meaning that the region has experienced almost a quarter of what it normally gets in just 6 days. One person has died. 750 have been left isolated after roads were cut out. Roads have been cut in 40 locations. Power supplies, because of the rains, have been interrupted. An increase in the flow of the Maipo River is cutting the supply of clean water to communities. And disaster authorities have reported 2 people dead and at least 6 missing following the floods in Upper Chile. The regions of Maui and Bilbao have been severely affected, with vineyards being reported underwater, as well as areas of Valparaiso, Santiago Metropolitan, O'Higgins, Nubel, and Orcania. So, wow. I hadn't heard of the flooding in Chile. I usually do. I don't know why I missed this. But major flooding in Chile. They are now, Southern Hemisphere, so you can realize we are in the middle of summer, they're in the middle of winter. And so the grapes being underwater is not good for them, but if it dries off or drains off reasonably soon, it might not affect them as badly as if it were. They're probably dormant. It might not affect them as badly as you might expect them to. Okay, what is this article? This article is about British Columbia smoke. Fires again, we're worried about smoke taint. It's airborne compounds that get on the grapevines, and you don't detect it until the batch is made. And it doesn't take much smoke to affect the grapes. So we have had smoke problems coming down all across the eastern United States from these fires up in Canada. So they're all concerned this year about smoke taint. We will continue to monitor that and see what's going on. British Columbia is also having problems with smoke in the fires up there hanging over the vineyards and stuff. So it's been all over the East Coast. We'll again monitor this and see if there's anything that's going to happen later in the year. Interesting article here by one of our past guests. This is by Gregory Jones. He came out with a weather and climate summary and forecast for the rest of this year and into fall. And it's basically the western half of the United States. But he's showing that the heat is really up in a lot of the areas, and that the drought is not really over. Everybody was so thrilled about the rains and all that, and he's predicting that it's not a good thing. And sea surface temperature anomaly, he says, is up also. It's which is not good for the formation of hurricanes and cyclones and all sorts of water problems. Also, we are getting particularly in Florida, but a little bit in the southeastern United States, we are getting dust from Africa quite a bit. We're getting some very colorful sunrises and sunsets because of the dust. It seems odd that we would get dust from the Sierra desert, but that's how it works. So that's what's happening on that. Monthly temperature outlook. Texas is going to be above normal for the next month or two, above average for south, all the south and up the East Coast. And let's see, precipitation is going to be average in the same area. And the seasonal temperature outlook, he's predicting hot, basically above normal temperatures. So, sign up for his emails. I will do that. And let's see, what is this one? Let's see, this one. This is another article about Paperboy, or not Paperboy, but about paper bottles. And the last one here is what? This just reads the headline, which is enough. The Australian government invests 3 million Australian dollars to improve no alcohol, low alcohol wines. Well, they better, after their heart doctor for their charity is telling them that you shouldn't drink anything at all. So, bless you. So that should take care of us for tonight. A lot of different odds and ends there for you, but it's the Australian $2,997,599 grant has been approved by the Australian government for the advancement of Australian lifestyle wines, which is the no-low category. And that's it. Yeah, a lot of things I found. Wow. Oh, yeah. 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 I'm hearing you. Yeah, I can hear you.
That's because the microphone was muted going out. Okay, now it's on. Oh my gosh, such an amateur. I had the button wrong.
Why can I hear you? Oh.
That's going through a voice, like phone type of interface, but everything else goes through a mixer, and the mixer was on mute. So here I am. Okay, thank you. So our next show is going to be, for those of you who missed it, right then I was just talking to you in Blog Talk Radio. Next show will be July 20th. You know, that's what a week off does. You take a week off, and it's like, oh my gosh.
I know. You just like forget everything you ever.
New again.
Yeah,
the past 13 years, it's like starting over. 7 p.m.
After 1 week.
Yeah, after 1 week. 7 p.m.
Just wipes out 13 years of knowledge.
Right. Just wiped away. all that experience.
Just wiped away.
Yes.
1 week.
What is going on here? Thank you all for tuning in, as always, and I appreciate it. Whether it's archive or live, we appreciate it. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, as Ron mentioned, hold on. Everybody else, but I can't mute it for Blog Talk Radio this time. Visit the website, allaboutwinebtr.com. Look at Be a Guest, and I think there's a link there. You can email allaboutwine101@gmail.com. That'll go to Ron, and he will respond and probably get you scheduled to be a guest on the show. If you're representing the wine industry, or we've had Gregory Jones on here, and he represents the industry in a way that affects more than just the wine industry, weather and climate. It's global. So very different industries and personal lives rely on the weather. It's just never look at it that way. But anyway, so if you're, some kind of connection to it in some way, let us know. Again, the email address is allaboutwine101@gmail.com. And that'll do it. We'll talk to you all next week. Thanks again.
And tune in to flightlineradio.com and listen to Mike tomorrow night and anytime.
All right. Thank you. We'll see y'all next time. Thank you. I'll switch out here.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Be safe.
Thank you.
This concludes tonight's broadcast of All About Wine with your host, Ron. For show information, links to All About Wine on Twitter and Facebook, or to be a guest on this show, visit the show website at www.allaboutwinebtr.com. Archived shows are available for download on iTunes or on our show page at blogtalkradio.com/allaboutwine.
Yes.
Can you hear it now?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, hold
no.
on.
Thank you.
Not now.
Okay.
For listening. Drink responsibly, and we'll see you next time on All About Wine.
All About Wine.
There you go. Now you heard it. All right. Very good.